A few moons ago, when disc jockey Phil Reimer was spinning discs, he perfected his ad-lib abilities. When he dispensed TV and radio weather, he continued to ad-lib, expound, and schmooze with his audience, and it was perfect training for his current vocation as a world traveler and travel writer who has a fondness for schmoozing on cruise ships. It is my pleasure to welcome Phil Reimer back to Studio 4 to tell us more.
Thank you, thank you. I'm so happy to be back.
Nice to see you again. Now, do you sail? Have you ever sailed? Like
on a sailboat?
The last guest, Ms. Fiedler?
Yes, but on a very big ship with 148 people, and if you
I
wanted
see.
to work, you could, and if you didn't want to work, you didn't have to.
You're my kind of sailor. I go on the 76-foot
That's right.
yacht with the French crew.
I found the Zodiac was at the back, and I just took that and beetled off on my own.
Okay. Take me back to your all-night disc jockey job.
Yeah,
Where were you?
Yeah, CKDA Victoria.
Really?
You know what happened? I won't say what grade, but I was in school, and I'd worked weekends with the sports guy, and I was very young, and I wanted to be on the air in the worst way. And I said, I'll take anything. The phone rang in the classroom, and it said, Dave Hill, manager of CKDA. You want to work for us full time? And we have a job starting tonight at midnight. So I went back to my desk, took all my school books, said bye to all my classmates. I was leaving school, and that you could catch me at 5 to 12 tonight.
Really? And
Yeah,
what you
and-
mean?
and-
This was high school?
Yeah. And
You quit high school
yeah,
to go on
yeah.
the radio?
You know what? So did Peter Mansbridge too. He quit
I
in
know.
grade 10.
That's a deep love.
And I went to work. I went home, explained to my family. They were unhappy, so I
Bet
kind
they
of
were.
I left home, moved downtown to Victoria, found it's a beautiful family by the name of Crawfords in a boarding room house, and I went to work and did the all-night show for a year and a half.
That's hilarious. And did you ever go
And I
back to
played-
school or just forget about it?
I never did go back.
You never did
No,
go back.
You know why? Because I covered my first Olympics when I was 23, and I had my first World Hockey Championships when I was 22. So as my son points out, Dad, we were still in university. You got to see the whole world.
Well,
so
sure.
that was your education.
Well, you went to the University of Life.
Thank you. It's fun too, isn't it?
It is fun. It's one of the best gigs in town, for
Yes.
sure. Yapping and getting paid to do
Yeah,
it.
you've probably enjoyed life more than any other human being I know.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, because I tried to have the near-death dance with the aneurysm, then I got the cancer, and now I'm fine.
Yeah.
I said to my friends, I don't like to get a cold.
No.
It's like, you know,
And the 30 years before
it's not
were
alarming
really
enough.
good.
You betcha. So, your TV career, CBC, were you doing weather someplace before
Yeah,
CBC?
in Winnipeg. What happened here is I was involved with Elvis for several years.
Oh, I
on
forgot
that road
about
tour.
that incarnation.
And then
Elvis
Elvis
Presley.
he died in August of 77.
Right.
And Gordon Craig, who went on to create TSN, is a lifelong friend.
Yes.
And he phoned me, he said, now that Elvis is dead, what are you going to do? I said, well, I just told the staff, look for work. So I guess
Wow.
that applies to me. He said, well, come on down to the station.
You have a
and he's-
horseshoe, you know.
Beg your pardon?
A horseshoe, because when you you kind of
totally.
put it out and it lands.
Totally. And Gord called me and he said, I need a sportscaster for the new show starting in the fall. And I said, well, I did sports for 12 years. I want to do something. He said, well, you did weather and you got your pilot's license. I said, yeah. I said, I need a new weather guy. I said, perfect. And so we all started in 78, Bill and JP and Steve Armitage, and
Right.
all of us started together. And that was it for 20 years.
Well, what you don't know is some of us have actually had to look for work. It doesn't just land.
You know what? I think if you work very hard, you're lucky. I really do.
I do too. So the cruise business, the business of the cruise business, when did that start?
I started about 5 years ago with it, and I had sent a letter quitting NW and thought I wanted to get out of everything. I always said that when I wake up in the morning and I don't want to go to work, that's going to, so I felt it 2 days in a row.
Right.
So I handed in a notice and said, thanks, but no thanks, and took off. And then this gradually happened. I knew I wanted to travel. The cruising was growing rapidly, and all of a sudden I just seemed to fit into that niche.
Well, you're that guy too. You're entrepreneurial, and you're a genius at saying, you know, I'd like to play golf, or I'd like to go on cruise ships? Because I remember when you took up golf with a vengeance.
Yeah.
And you suddenly you were writing a golf column.
I know.
Very smart. Bet the golf was free.
And when I learned how to ski, I started doing the ski reports on
Of
CBC.
Of course you did. So now this cruise thing. You're just back from Venice and Capri?
Yeah, I went to Venice. It was for the launch of the Carnival Magic. We had a great shot of the Carnival ship going by all the gondolas coming into Venice. I'd never been to Venice before, so I was quite anxious. That's the ship, and the gondolas right in front of St. Mark's Square. There's the ship coming in to be christened. Holds about 3,800 people, and we christened the ship, stayed around Venice for several days, and then we took off and did various really neat ports.
Well, when you say christened the ship, so brand new ship.
Brand new ship.
Well, who christened it?
Anybody in this case, I can't remember the lady, but it was a young lady and her family. A lot of the cruise lines go for the big name stars like Mary Hart, christened Oceania. Whoopi Goldberg produced one ship. The Partridge Family godfathered another ship.
Really?
But they picked a lady who had whose child had several problems, and they wanted to do something for her community, and
great.
That's what they did.
Well, her child had problems, which is most unfortunate. I bet she had a lot of money. I don't know why I think that, but they crack some. Is it true that when they christen a ship, they smash the champagne?
Yeah.
And what happens?
Yeah.
Yes.
Disney did a great thing. They did a bottle that was 50 feet high and put it on a helicopter and then swung it against the ship. And then all the Disney characters came out and started singing. So
instead
that was
of champagne?
That was rather spectacular.
That would be really spectacular. So tell me about this particular ship.
Well, it's an interesting ship. You know, Carnival's gone from being the fun party ship, still a fun party ship, but to put more emphasis on the fun. So on there is a giant water slide. I mean, it scared the beegee out of me. And I tried it a couple of times, and then but they were aiming mainly towards the family market more than anything else. So there's lots of kids stuff on board. But then there's adult pubs and nightclubs and all of that sort of thing. So for kids, yes, but also for families, and they kept the word fun in the ship as well.
I guess so.
And it's sailing all around the Mediterranean for the summer.
Really? Sailing the Med.
Yes.
With the family. How great. So where did Capri fit into this?
I went on a cruise. Once we christened her, off we took her out of Venice. By the way, Venice is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Do you know that?
No, I've been Amalfi Coast. I've been all over Italy and not to Venice.
Well, you know,
I don't know why.
I in the column, nobody disagreed with me when I ranked it kind of the top 3 most beautiful cities in the world. And we took off and we went to Florence and we went to Rome. We docked at Naples. I'm not a big fan of Naples, but Capri's over here and Sorrento's over there. So I went to both of those islands. You take a high-speed ferry, and the ferry is very quickly, in about an hour, gets you to Capri. And the beach at Capri was just absolutely superb. It's like, and all the restaurants along the shore.
Well,
then you could take the funicular to the top.
Oh, I totally get that. I had trouble leaving Capri. I thought I could live here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you know I could live in Capri? It's so expensive. But I thought,
that part is right.
I'm in a Fellini movie. Yes, I am. Yes,
Money's
I am.
no object.
No, and isn't that Blue Lagoon, all of it, just magnificent. Then we went on to Sicily. Did you go to Sicily?
We went to Taormina, to the Greek Theater.
Oh, fabulous.
Absolutely superb. And also on that same trip, we finished at Capri about noon, because we had left the ship at 7, hit the first ferry and away. They're all high-speed ferries. We went to Sorrento for lunch. Fabulous. So where else can you go from Capri, another hour, Sorrento, have lunch, then at 4:30 go back to Naples and get on your ship and take off.
Sure. I stayed in Sicily for 2-3 weeks. I loved it. It's just fantastic.
No, so, I would really, if you can start your cruise in Venice, and a lot do that and come early and stay 3 days and do what I did on the last day. Threw away the maps, threw away the guides, threw away everything, just started walking.
Great
Best
idea.
thing you can do.
Great idea, because sometimes when the big ships come into harbor, as you know, there's lineups and it gets crowded. So you want to take time.
If you're going
before, after, in between.
If you're going to St. Mark's Square, go to everything in the morning, or go around the dinner hour when people are leaving. and at least you won't have to stand in line for an hour and a half or 2 hours. For
Exactly,
something. Yeah.
exactly. And as you know, some people who cruise never get off the ship.
No.
They just love
No,
it
there's
on the
some
ship. They
people-
never leave the ship.
I don't understand it. You're
I
in
don't
Venice
either.
and you're not leaving this ship.
I know.
It's really hard for me to understand.
Right, and they're not necessarily old.
No.
They're in the casino or something.
That's
you say,
exactly.
but we're in Venice. What are you thinking? Phil Reimer, our guest, I'm sure you've read his column in the newspaper. And he also cruises and has lots to say about the Queen Mary, too, when we come back.